think people make the mistake of thinking that the working day is, today we're in a sort of super progressive position, and the working day has been getting gradually shorter since the year naught. But of course, it got much longer with machines, and then we have the paradox. Machines are supposed to, which he talks about. Maybe you'd like to talk a little bit about what he says about machines. But there's this paradox of machines, that the machine comes in, the factories, which can make the pins or the the cotton socks or whatever it is, the hosiery, much quicker than one craftsman. In a sane society, you think, great, we can cut the working day back, but actually what happens is the machines lengthen the working day, and that's probably mainly because, this is basic economics, but the capitalists have invested in a lot of money in machinery, electric lighting, and so on and so forth. Therefore, to get the return they require, this machine has to be working sort of 24/7. That leads to shift work, and the light bulb obviously also leads to shift work. So the machine, and we're seeing a reflection of that today with smartphones and things. These machines and technology always announces itself as, we're going to free you from toil, so you have more time to do the things that you love. And then, in fact, the precise opposite happens, and people end up working longer and longer hours and being more tied to their work. Could you talk us through, what Lafargue says about machines, because it's a central part of the essay.
Yeah, I mean, he's writing sort of many pieces at once, and like you said, a lot of it is the pamphlet. It works through humor and through sort of taking all these points to an extreme. But one sort of genre he's working in is the defense of idleness, the defense of laziness, back to classical times. And so he sort of cherry picks, but picks well, some examples from classical literature about how, because this idea of the machines, meaning that we won't have to work anymore, has been around since the Greeks. I think it's Antipater or someone like that, who writes about now these maidens who've been weaving the fabrics won't have to work because we have the mill. And he then traces that forward and draws on some statistics to say, that a sewing machine now can do whatever it is, 900 times more work than one seamstress. So why doesn't she work for an hour a day or 5 minutes a day or whatever it would be, and then let the machine do the rest, or something like that. But he does it in such a way that to me, part of the interest of it is that he sounds like he's constantly joking or being hyperbolic, but he's really barely joking and barely being hyperbolic, as he talks about how the capitalists, the owners, the proprietors have sort of taken advantage of this just to line their own pockets without any concern for the people whose lives are being eaten up by these machines. I did think too, though, that the idea that machines are going to rescue us, I think, has also been a skein in Marxist thought and leftist thought that's persisted quite a long time too. Because I remember reading a speech that Levi-Strauss gave somewhere, and he said, and this was in the 80s, that now that we have computers, we will be saved. The utopia can come and we won't have to work. So I think it is sort of part of a tradition within socialism and Marxism, and sort of that kind of utopian thinking. Not that Marx would think it was utopian, but